Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Big Fish Charter Services in Elginak. Experience a world-class musky fishery on Lake St. Clair for predator fishing, or a once-in-a-lifetime trip on the St. Clair River to tangle with a prehistoric lake sturgeon at Big Fish Charter Services. It's all about big fish. And by
quick and easy setup. Silent operation. 360-degree shooting. Triops 360, no limitations.
Welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson, and this week we've got an all-new show for you. We're going to start out with something kind of unique. Jimmy, Jordan, Gabe, and I were all able to head out on the same trip. We went out chasing after some muskies on Lake St. Clair. We had a ball. You won't want to miss that story. And Jimmy's going to take us along on some other exciting adventures this week, too.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have a few more things on this week's show. We are pretty excited about that musky fishing story, though. That was a lot of fun. We're also going to stop in with the Michigan Cycle Conservation Club on this week's show and let you learn a little bit more about what they are all about. And we're going to stop in on the White River with a group of sportsmen that were giving back and cleaning up that stretch of river. You won't want to miss that very inspiring story. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream. It's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows. Manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan, G5 offers archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
We all have one, that perfect spot, a special place we go to smooth out the ripples of the day. Our perfect spot is calling. Our perfect spot is Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
We kick off this week's show down on Lake St. Clair, where Jimmy, Jenny, Gabe, and I were able to get out and do a little fishing ourselves on one of the best musky fishing lakes in the Midwest.
The Fuse River is probably just about straight in off the bow there, on the Canadian shoreline there. We're in about 18 feet of water right now. This particular area is one of the most consistent areas on the lake. Day in, day out throughout the course of the entire season, throughout the years. It's also, certain areas around this area is a really good big fish spot. When you're musky fishing, it's all about the big fish too, so sometimes we'll sacrifice, possible quantity if we think we stand a chance to get a big one. You never know.
Well, in Lake St. Clair, first of all, you have to decide where you're going to want to fish. Now, the lake, there's muskies in all corners of the lake. There's smallmouth bass in all corners of the lake. We're talking about the muskie here. The first thing you want to do is decide where you're going to fish. A lot of that has to do with what direction the wind has been from the previous day or two, as well as the direction of the wind when you leave. Usually the best water conditions are going to be on the lee side rather than the windward side on St. Clair. And so if we have a south wind, we like to fish the south shore, a west wind, the west shore. And as far as the colors go, again, it depends on water conditions. If we have a green tint to the water, I like a lot of greens mixed with some yellows. If we have a blue tint, I like something with more of a silver or bluish tint to it. And if we have a brown color in the water, after, around some of the rivers that are coming into the lake, then I prefer the brown colors, again, some yellows mixed in with that. There's always exceptions. At times some whites are good and some, blacks and stuff like that. But as a rule, that's kind of how I set up most of my lure color selection.
Good deal. Boy, that one we weren't real sure.
Nice job, Jenny.
Thank you. I think we have 14 lines out, Steve. So this one, of course, hit on one of the middle lines. We had to kind of wiggle around and get it weaved through all the other ones. And by the time I grabbed a hold of it, I wasn't sure anything was still there, but I think he was just chasing the boat. Fun.
Despite some pretty questionable weather to start the morning, it didn't take us long at all to land our first muskie. And after a few quick pictures and a little video, we safely returned the fish to the water. Jimmy was up next, and it didn't take long at all to hook our second muskie.
There we go. Yeah, any words of wisdom, Jenny?
Now, Jimmy, you're going to want to reel.
Pump it.
When you
Don't give it any slack.
Step back for a second, Jim.
Okay.
Just don't lose the fish.
Well, if I start doing something wrong, just let me know.
You hold your mouth
You're
right?
doing fine. Just step right back to the back.
Yeah, put your legs right up against the. Yeah, just like, there you go.
Yeah, there's some weight there.
Feel pretty heavy?
Yeah.
That's some nice fishing. They've been fighting good.
Every muskie's a nice muskie. Some are just nicer than others.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, what I like about the muskie is they've got a personality. It's all their own as far as fish go. There's no other fish like it. They're peculiar personality. They're very playful. They have a cat-like curiosity. They don't know any fear. That's why several of our fish, one of our nicest fish today, were caught right alongside the boat, within 10 feet of the boat. And it makes for an exciting fish. They let themselves be seen. They come right to you, and it doesn't seem like we spook them too much. A lot of fish are caught because of their curiosity. They just, what's this, and they grab it and they get hooked. And they do a lot of goofy things. We have them when we're trolling, and the boat rocks a little bit, and the rod tip that we're trolling with goes in the water. We've had muskies come and grab at that rod tip, and they take lures right out of your hands. They do some very exciting things. And then maybe only 1 out of 10 muskies will jump, but when they do, it's a 4-footer, 4 feet in the air, 4 feet behind the boat. It's just a sight to behold.
Okay, you ready?
Perfect timing.
Beautiful. That's a nice fish.
Hold on just a minute here.
What? As soon as I started to move him, he was ready to go.
I think he revived pretty good.
He revived really good, yeah.
I don't know, we didn't measure mine. I think mine was probably a few inches bigger.
Well, we're out on Lake St. Clair today with Captain Steve, who we've been out with probably a couple, 2 or 3 times before, and he was nice enough to had an opening for us to come out this morning. So far, we got 2 fish in the boat, 2 nice muskie, and like Steve was saying, there's no bad muskie. Some are just a little bit bigger than others. But that last one was a dandy. Actually, both of them were really nice fish. Steve, what do you think that one would weigh? 43 pounder.
43 and a half inches. It was probably around 17, 18 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really nice fish, and a lot of times they don't necessarily not known for being great fighters, but they've been fighting really
Yeah,
well.
the water temperature, they kind of, they're really underrated as fighters. They're good fighters. They're great fighters. But right now, the water temperature is right at their peak level, and it stayed that way. Normally, this time of year, it's already getting warmer than that, and sometimes they'll get a little sluggish then, on their fight. But right now, the water temperature is still cool. It's in the upper 60s, and the fish are in great shape. Yep.
Well, most of the better muskie fishing areas are associated with the Great Lakes, and then there's the Canadian Shield Lakes. As far as the Great Lakes go, most of the areas that are good are the shallower bay areas. Lake St. Clair is probably the best. What it is really is just a widening between one river, which is the St. Clair River and the Detroit River. And Lake St. Clair kind of breaks that up and widens out. but it's all one and the same system. And then there's other systems, it's just the current's right, the spawning conditions are right. We're in a really good temperate area for the muskies as far as for water temperature. And then Mononscon Bay is another area that's similar to that. That's a good muskie fishery. None of them are as good as St. Clair is, though. Places like Niagara, there's, most of the places that have this similar type makeup will have good muskie fishing.
Lake St. Clair is truly a musky fishing gem, and it's a fishery that should be on every Michigan angler's bucket list. It's easy to see why Captain Steve enjoys this body of water so much and why he's been fishing it for over 40 years.
I always loved to fish. Always thinking of creative ways to take off work to be able to fish an extra day or two a week or whatever. So it was just kind of a no-brainer for me to eventually, become a fishing guide. My intentions originally were always to be part-time, just to help, fray the costs of the boat and tackle and everything what you needed out here on St. Clair to do it. But I found out it wasn't really all that difficult to book trips back in those days then, and there were a few guides doing it. That was 40 years ago.
All right, we got another fish on. We had a couple small ones recently, so I'm not sure. This one does not feel as big as that last one. Oh, now he's kind of waking up. Yeah, check that drag.
Yeah, we can go a little tighter there. We can go a little bit tighter. You got nice fish, don't you? Maybe you better slow down a little bit more. Not much. I think you're okay. Take it back up.
It's not very often that the four of us get to take a trip together, and getting to do so on the world-class waters of Lake St. Clair made the trip that much more enjoyable. Special thanks to Captain Steve for a great day on the water here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
All right, good fish. That's number 6. Nice job, Captain. Good fish. Get ready to go. I can see it switch. Ta-da! Musky slide. Good job, Captain.
Well, as you can see, we had a lot of fun on that trip. Thanks to Steve Jones for making it all happen. What we're going to do now is shift gears and do something that's a little bit different. Now, we try to highlight the motor sports here in the state of Michigan really once or twice a year. And in this next story, we're going to stop in with the Michigan Cycle Conservation Club. Now, that is a group I knew very little about, but I have to say, after spending a few days with them, I was pretty impressed not only on what they're doing here in the state of Michigan as far as getting out and enjoying our natural resources, but they really are doing a good job of protecting a lot of the places that many of us as sportsmen hold so dear.
Back found me just outside of Grayling, covering the Michigan Cycle Conservation Club's annual 6 Days event. What is the 6 Days event, you may ask? Well, it's 6 full days of riding our quite incredible trail system here in the great state of Michigan. I sat down with Louis Schuler to find out more about this Cycle Conservation Club.
We're a family-oriented, off-road, non-competitive organization. Everything we do is family-oriented. We got started back in the late 60s when we were ORVs. Motorcycles at that time were being closed out of the state game areas in lower Michigan. And we were able to make agreements to put 1,500 miles of trail on the ground in both state and federal lands, in the lower and in the upper. Kind of a trade-off. We wouldn't expect to ride in the southern game areas if they would allow us to put trail on the ground in the northern part of the state in the UP.
I really got quite an education on our trail system here in Michigan, and I had no idea just how unique and special it is across the country.
People come from other states to ride on our trails. I was in Indian River one time on a solo trail ride of my own, and there was a guy there with his son from the state of Maryland that drove to Michigan so he could go out on a marked trail without getting lost with his son, know where he's at, have a great time. And he drove all the way from Maryland just to spend a couple days here.
So on this 6-day event, every morning has a new ride. Each rider checks out in the morning, and so everybody knows where each rider is going. They also check in at night, so no one is left out on the trail. Now, from what Lewis says, both the UP and the Northern Lower are preferred destinations for this event.
People really like the UP. It gets less use. There's less sand and whoops up there than there are in the lower. The closer you get to the population areas, the more use the trails get. So a lot of people like around the Newberry area. We go as far over as Porterfield. On this trip, we also went to Drummond Island, the only island in the United States with marked trails on it, marked ORV trails. So that's kind of neat. And then we come down here to Grayling because we can actually run all 6 days out of here. We're only doing 3 this year, and there is more sand, more people, less road miles down here. It's easier to connect the different trail systems together.
The trail system in this part of the state is really the key here. Riders can leave from the campground and ride all day, which other states just don't have.
It's the best riding in the United States for me. I mean, thousands and thousands of miles of trails. In Connecticut, there's none. There's no legal places to ride unless it's private property or a club.
Okay.
Very limited to what you have. Plus, it's all rock and roots. It's been ridden for 40, 50 years. It's so beat. But I've got a lot of friends here. I've been coming out 21 years for this event.
Really?
I have a lot of friends here in Michigan, all over the United States that come from here.
Wow. And what are the trails like here in Michigan? If somebody's not familiar with these kind of two-wheeled type trails.
Well, there's plenty of single track. There's thousands of miles of single track, tight, single track, wide, single. There's everything. Sand. It's very sandy. There's dual sports, which is grassy 2-track, snowmobile trails. It's thousands and thousands of miles of that. Here's a map for today that we're going to go. I'm just setting my GPS up to navigate. I was just setting my GPS up there to navigate.
Now, how far will you go today, typically?
I believe today's a 160-mile ride.
Wow.
There's rides I've done over the years here, 360 miles in one day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that was getting lost a lot too. So, but you know, they always say here in Michigan, just keep heading straight. You'll run into water eventually. You know, it is kind of funny. It's a great place.
What a great place indeed. I know many of us Michiganders, well, we take for granted just what we have here in our state. Obviously, our resources when it comes to water are unmatched, but when you talk to folks from other states and they talk about just how much state land we have and the trail systems, the endless acres of places to explore, it's really a special place.
I came here first in 1987. I missed the first 2 years. I brought my wife and my son and my daughter, and they've actually have lifelong friends now that even though they've grown up and moved away kind of thing, are still their friends that they deal with. And we have the same amongst ourselves, that we met people here and this is the only time we see them. And it's truly a friendly, a friend atmosphere. And some of us have went on other trips and other rides and things since we met here at 6 Days of Michigan. It's just part of the day is the ride. You have the meetings in the morning and the lunches during the day, and then dinner at night with these folks and sitting around the campfire and talking about all the things that happened out in the woods, the wildlife we've seen, just the scenery that's out there where many of us couldn't go if it wasn't for some type of motorized recreation.
Well, the Yogi Bear Campground in Grayling was the spot to be for this Michigan Cycle Conservation Club. Now, I know some of you watching this are saying, why highlight a group like this? When I grouse hunt or deer hunt, the last thing I want to hear is a motorcycle. And to be honest, I understand that. However, it is important to realize that if we want to keep the state land that we have, if we want to protect our incredible trail system and keep wild places for the next generation, well, then it's important to have more than just hunters and anglers using our resources. The more folks we have invested in our natural resources and keeping what we have, then both the ATV rider, the snowmobiler, and the grouse and deer hunter, well, you know what? We all win. When we work together to protect places, we have a better chance of keeping what we hold so dear here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, every week here at Michigan Out of Doors Television, and I do mean every week, I get at least 1 or 2 phone calls or emails of people asking, are we hiring here at Michigan Out of Doors Television, or how do I get started in outdoor television? Well, we're not hiring here very often at Michigan Out of Doors, but we do hire some freelance shooters from time to time to get out and cover a few events that we cannot make it to. Well, this next story is going to come to us from a young man named Brandon Nutt. Now, Brandon is someone that we've highlighted on the show before. We did some coyote hunting with him. We also did some fishing with him, and he takes his camera with him just about everywhere he goes. He's got a website where he has some of his stuff for sale. Well, he was recently out on the White River with a group of sportsmen that were giving back and cleaning up that river. So this story was shot by Brandon. We helped him kind of tweak it a little bit, and this is just a story to really inspire all of us to get out there and clean up some of the places in our beloved out of doors that we hold so dear.
We have so many great corners of our state. The endless amount of riverbanks hold special memories for many a Michigan angler. We point our camera at so many each year it's hard to keep track of. But there are times when we have to be careful because not everyone using our streams and rivers does so the way we would hope. Today we were following a group of anglers on the White River who are here to clean up a river that has given them a lot over the years.
My name's Robert Crabtree. I live in Halton. And we fish the White quite a bit, and I figure, you know, as much as we take out, it's always good to put back in, get as many people as possible to join us.
What is nice about a day like this is that it's becoming more common. Many anglers and kayakers and canoers are doing more and more to clean up the rivers. What I can't understand, though, is just how much trash is here to be picked up. It really gives us, as users of the outdoors, a bad reputation to many in the area.
Not only just the river, but everywhere you go, man. You know, there's a lot of campsites along the river. Everything should stay clean, you know. You should always leave with what you brought in. And, you know, like say for instance, last year me and a friend were on the river at Pier Marquette. You know, we drove probably a good 2 hours to get some fishing time in. And we ran upon a goose on the river, and it literally probably had about 200 yards of line wrapped around his legs. And that's what really got me into thinking, man, it's just people shouldn't be doing that, and we should be cleaning it up as much as we can in our free time, you know. And it probably took me over an hour to get all the line off that goose, and we finally got him out and put him back, and the lacerations in his legs were so bad, I don't know if he ever made it or not, but you know, our wildlife depends on us, our fisheries depend on us. It doesn't belong there, so it shouldn't be there, you know. And I have seen fish, I've caught fish that's had rings on them, 6-pack containers, the plastic that connects your 6-pack. I've actually caught salmon in the big lake that had them halfway on their body.
If you want to do this, grab your kids and head to your favorite stream or stretch of woods. It's great for kids to see us chipping in to clean up the areas that we love.
I'm hoping it gets it out there. You know, more people should be involved. Muskegon holds a nice event. Manistee holds a nice event. They get a good amount of volunteers.
As you travel to some of your favorite fishing spots this fall, or even yet this summer, take a look around. What can you do? What can I do to help clean up our out of doors? I know the story won't change the mind of the folks that throw their garbage in the woods. The kind of people that have no respect for others or for our natural resources. But maybe, just by highlighting a group of folks like we did today, maybe, just maybe, you and your buddies will do a day of cleanup on your favorite stretch of river. Maybe you can plan one more trip to the cabin this year and take at least one day to clean up the woods or the water in your area. Today it was Robert Crabtree, Tad Millis, Steve Woods, Jack Kaiser, and their families. Just a couple of hours can go a long way. And maybe kayakers or canoers that go by and then ask, "What are you doing?" You get to say, "You know what, we love to fish this river and we're cleaning it up." Just that act alone can change someone's perception of us as outdoorsmen. And you know the way you change the world? One person at a time. Thanks to all those today who gave of their time, and thanks for the inspiration to get the rest of us to do the same.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you check us out online when you get a chance. You can do it a couple of different ways on our website at MichiganOutofDoorsTV.com or on our Facebook page at Michigan Out of Doors TV. We've got a lot of fun stuff in store for you coming up as we transition from summer into fall. We'll be taking you out on some early goose season hunts. We'll also check in with Ted Nugent to get some archery tips from him and talk about some other things with him. Lots of fun stuff coming your way over the next few weeks.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by the Michigan chapters of Safari Club International. For over 40 years, SCI has been protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation here in Michigan and around the world. SCI chapter locations can be found on the web at firstformichigan.org. By Rosie Brothers. Located in Dryden, Michigan, Rosie Brothers has been serving Michigan for over 40 years. Specializing in outdoor needs, Rosie Brothers features Kubota tractors and equipment for use in farm, home, or commercial needs. On the web at rosiebrosinc.com. By Propane, Clean American Energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. Closed captioning is provided by the Michigan Propane Gas Association, Clean American Energy. Propane realtors promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a